The Wii U era of Nintendo was one of experimentation, for better or for worse. They were at their lowest point in years, trying to keep their home console line afloat, even if it was their worst selling one to date. Developers weren't developing, gamers weren't gaming, so they needed to move on to a more profitable console fast. But that doesn't mean that their ideas during this era were bad. In fact, this moment of creative freedom gave birth to one of Nintendo's newest and most popular IPs, Splatoon, a series that delved into the shooter genre previously unexplored by Nintendo and added a new creative twist to the shooter formula, smack dab in the middle of an industry filled to the brim with greedy warfare sims. So when development for the next IP began, Nintendo sought a crack team of creatives. The producer was Kyosuke Yabuki, who started at Nintendo in 2005 as a planner for Twilight Princess. Over the years, he transitioned to working on the Mario Kart series, and eventually landed the role of director for Mario Kart 7 and 8. There were 3 individuals credited as directors for ARMS, each bringing experience to the table, and were with Nintendo since the GameCube era. Kenta Sato, who worked on Wii Sports Resort and Mario Kart 8, was chosen as the head director. Shintaro Chikumaru, with a background in technical support in Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Mario Strikers, and Masaki Ishikawa, an artist on games like Nintendo Dogs and Mario Kart 7. Mr. Yabuki's vision for the game was to make a fighting game that was accessible to everyone, regardless of their experience with the genre. And so, ARMS was born. From a prototype boxing game that originally used the Wiimote and Nunchuck as motion controls, similar to Wii Sports. Mr. Yabuki saw potential in this idea, but felt it needed more to stand out. That's when they came up with the idea of extendable arms, which could add range and strategy to the fights. Mr. Yabuki also wanted to harness the power of the Joy-Con controllers, which were still in development at the time as part of Nintendo's next console. Using these ideas, the groundwork was set for a fighting game that was both technical in its movement and mechanics, while also being approachable with its motion controls and stunning visuals influenced by the Mario Kart origins. Speaking of visuals, no good fighting game is complete without expertly crafted character designs, and if ARMS had anything going for it, it was style. The character artists crafted a roster of long-range boxing combatants, and morphed them into a world of personality and culture, from the basic characters of Springman and Ribbon Girl, to the more complex and out-there characters like Lola Pop, Helix, and Bite and Bark. Each character was wholly unique with completely different playstyles. Combine this with the stellar level design, with baked-in stage hazards that extended, get it? The game's combat and weirdly amazing soundtrack riddled with bangers, and ARMS was shaping up to be another immediate hit, like Splatoon before it, but little did they know that it was not simply meant to be. In January 2017, at the Nintendo Switch presentation, ARMS was revealed to the world, and it garnered a mixed perception. Some saw a shiny new fighting game with unique mechanics and a beautiful visual style, while others doubted its complexity and swept it aside as a gimmicky game, quickly drawing comparisons to Wii Sports Boxing. In mid-May, Nintendo hosted a Nintendo Direct dedicated to ARMS. The Direct itself was kind of run-of-the-mill, but at the end of the Direct, Nintendo revealed a new trailer for Splatoon 2. In my eyes, this could be seen 2 ways. On one hand, it could be a clever strategy to attract more viewers to the Direct and introduce them to a new game by teasing them with the trailer. On the other hand, it could be a risky move, since Splatoon and ARMS have similar target audiences, and this could remind customers to save their money for an extra month to get Splatoon 2 instead of ARMS. During the Direct, they also announced the ARMS Test Punch, which was a free demo running for about a weekend for anyone to try out the game. And then at E3 2017, Nintendo hosted 3 open invitational tournaments to promote upcoming games like Pokken Tournament DX, Splatoon 2, and of course ARMS, which was launching in just under a week. The event featured Smash Bros. And esports community veterans, and the winner of the tournament, Zerk, accepted an exhibition match against producer Kyosuke Yabuki, in which Zerk lost 0-2. I was going to research the viewership numbers for the live streams, but they have since been privatized. By the end of the month, ARMS was officially launched, alongside a series of online tournaments called Party Crash, similar to Splatoon's Splatfest. Some reviewers felt that the game lacked depth and extra modes at launch, while others experienced problems like lag during the online matches, a common occurrence for online games, especially with Nintendo's then-free Nintendo Switch Online service. The next nail in the coffin was its almost back-to-back release with the highly anticipated sequel to Splatoon, aptly named Splatoon 2. ARMS releasing in June, and Splatoon 2 releasing just a month later in July. You see, unlike Splatoon, which was a team shooter and therefore relatively new ground for Nintendo, ARMS was a fighting game, a genre that Nintendo has already immersed itself with the likes of Smash Bros. And Pokken. Combined with it sharing its innovation with the likes of Wii Sports Boxing, and the complaints that the game feels and looks juvenile, it makes sense that the game was slated for obscurity. This isn't to say ARMS is a juvenile game. It has its complexity, and upon release, it was praised for its visuals, sounds, and gameplay, and it even sold fairly well, with 1 million copies being sold in its first month. However, it wasn't enough. Upon its last character being released in December 2017, development ceased on the game, and it all seemingly came crashing down. Obviously, this announcement left the ARMS community disappointed, hoping for the content and support to continue. Speculation ran rampant. Had Nintendo abandoned ARMS due to its perceived lack of popularity compared to titles like Splatoon 2 that released just a month after ARMS? Or had the company shifted focus to other projects, like Salt on the Wound, and maybe even partially the reason for its cancellation? In March 2018, Nintendo revealed Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and as a part of their initial announcement, they immediately revealed that Inklings would be the newest playable fighters, almost proving how much more successful Splatoon was in comparison. Despite ARMS being a new and original IP from Nintendo, it was conspicuously absent from the playable roster after the E3 2018 Nintendo Direct. ARMS received minimal recognition at launch in the form of a few music tracks, Mii costumes, and a Springman Assist trophy. This was another letdown for the ARMS community, feeling their game was being overlooked and forgotten by Nintendo. But not all hope was lost. At this point, fans were hoping for a Fire Emblem situation, where a character would be added to the latest Super Smash Bros. Game to promote a game. Fortunately, we all know what happens next. In the June 2020 Direct, an ARMS character was indeed revealed. But this caused quite the stir among Smash fans, as they believed that Min Min was a wasted character slot. On the other hand, Min Min's inclusion in Smash was a big moment for ARMS fans, who were elated to see their game gain recognition within Nintendo's biggest franchises, and one of gaming's biggest crossover titles. Many hoped that this would rekindle interest and popularity for ARMS, possibly leading to a sequel or spin-off. Yet, despite the enthusiasm surrounding Min Min's Smash inclusion, it did not seem to have a lasting impact on ARMS' popularity or sales. What went wrong? Firstly, ARMS faced stiff competition from other high-profile Switch games released around the same time or shortly after. The Nintendo Switch's launch year was teeming with blockbuster titles, such as Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, and Mario Odyssey, just to name a few. These games boasted established fan bases, extensive content, substantial hype, and a broader appeal that ARMS could stretch out to. There was also Pokken Tournament DX, as mentioned earlier, which had unintentionally ended up as being a direct competitor and was much more refined experience, being a port from the Wii U and arcade game with a more recognizable cast of characters. Pokken, and all these other Switch games, received more robust post-launch support from Nintendo, eclipsing ARMS in this crowded gaming landscape, which realistically only got support for about 6 months. Secondly, while it offered innovative concept and gameplay, its learning curve and skill ceiling were quite steep. Unlike other motion-controlled games, ARMS demanded precision, timing, strategy, and adaptation. Players needed to experiment with various arm and character combinations, learning the intricacies and mastering their strengths. This complexity made ARMS inaccessible as a pick-up-and-play game compared to other fighters. As a consequence, ARMS encountered challenges within the fighting game community. Offline tournaments and events were sparse compared to other fighting games like Street Fighter or Smash, diminishing its presence in the competitive scene. It lacked influential players, compelling rivalries, captivating narratives, and notable drama that often drive engagement in the fighting game community. Also, in the game of ARMS, it just lacked a compelling narrative or immersive world. While it held potential for lore and storytelling, these aspects remained underdeveloped. The game offered glimpses of the world's history, characters' backgrounds, and the nature of their arms, but failed to fully explore or exploit these elements. The game's potential for a rich and captivating universe largely went untapped. Now in 2024, ARMS finds itself stranded in a shadow of a half a decade's worth of Nintendo's illustrious releases. Within this bustling arena of exceptional games, ARMS stands as a testament to an untapped potential. Unfortunately, it never received the spotlight it merited from its parent studio. Yet, amidst this narrative of neglect, a glimmer of hope emerges. The anticipation of a Nintendo Switch successor brings with it a prospect of an ARMS 2, a sequel that could breathe new life into the franchise. But for now, ARMS drifts in the vast sea of Nintendo's gaming prowess, an unsung hero awaiting rediscovery.